so much for those. Thank you so much for those who are joining us for this particular first Entrepreneurship Summit of 2023. And we know that we are going to be a blessing to each other. We are going to iron, because you normally say iron sharpens iron. And we know for a fact that when 2 people or 3 people come together, they are able to help each other and build each other. So for those who are joining us on Facebook, welcome. For those who are joining us live on Zoom, it is the first Entrepreneurship Summit of 2023. My name, for the benefit of our new people who are on board, is Nyutu. And we have a firm we call Performer Consult. Performer Consult was incorporated in 2016. And this particular webinar specifically focuses, and welcome so much, Mudhuri. This particular webinar focuses on the newer entrepreneurs, especially from 0 to 5 years. But of course, this can be applicable to many others who are beyond that. We expect to have a couple of speakers. We have somebody who is going to speak to us today, because we are running the summit program today and tomorrow. So today we have an entrepreneur and supply chain challenges. We'll have somebody by the name of Bernard who is going to speak to us. Then we have a Q&A. Then we'll have entrepreneurship and career. How do you combine, especially for those people who are doing moonlighting? So we'll have Paul taking us through that. And then finally, we'll have a Q&A again after the speaker has taken us through that. And at the end, a Q&A. And then again, we come back tomorrow. For the benefit of introduction, so who is PSL? Who is Performer Consult Limited? Who is convening us today? We are a leading management and training firm, as I have said, established in 2016, incorporated, and we are committed to developing business and human resource requirements for the management of people, both in workplace, public, SMEs, NGOs, private sector, and of course, in the economy, both locally and globally. We have had a chance of interacting with government institutions. We have trained for pipeline. We have trained for the oil industry. We have trained for government. We have trained for the cops, the military. We have also trained for corporates. So, and we are here as entrepreneurs to sharpen each other, to grow each other, to be able to look at where can we be able to do some synergies together. One of the sponsors we have for today is Superfine. Superfine distributors are well known. And in fact, one of them is also a speaker. They are well known to be distributors of stationery for the last 10 years in Kenya and in the region. So what are our core values as a PSL? One is commitment to excellence. That is Performer Consult Limited. We are committed to excellence. Integrity is key for us. We really focus on integrity. Customer focus, because customer matters. Customer is king. Customer is everything. Professionalism in everything we do. So what we say is what we do. When we have meetings to run, we say we start on this time, we start it. When we say we are delivering these particular KPIs, we help you as an organization to build and deliver on that. And of course, innovation, because we are in a very creative, innovative world. So you have to keep on your toes. You have to ensure that you keep doing the right things. So some kind of laying of ground. So who is an entrepreneur? Who is an entrepreneur? And maybe for those ones who can be able to write on the chat, you can chat us. Who is an entrepreneur? From our own definition, an entrepreneur is somebody who organizes and operates a business. They organize, they operate a business, and they also take more than the normal financial risk. so that they can grow this business. So you sit down, you organize, you start, you create a business or a couple of businesses, and you are taking more than the normal financial risk. Because many people are afraid of doing anything. They always speak about it, but they never do anything. But an entrepreneur, they take the risk. They say, we have to move, we have to do something. Even coming to this particular webinar, it is a risk you have taken. You have decided, I will be there. I will make commitment of my 1 hour, 30 minutes, 40 minutes, 2 hours to see how I can be able to make myself better. So entrepreneurs are those people who create ideas. They operate a business either in form of a product or service, and they take more than the normal financial risk to ensure that that particular idea comes to fruition. That particular idea goes to the market. That is an entrepreneur. So how do you start business? The first thing that you do is that you start with an idea. In fact, somebody said, just start. Just start. That idea that has been bothering you, that thing that you feel you need to do it, just start it. Because we say that when you start, there is a power of momentum. So just start. Do you want to feel like you want to start selling eggs? Do it. Do you feel you want to start a consultancy? Just start with the first client. I remember the first client that I had an opportunity of being invited to speak in a forum. We used to call the British Leadership Forum at the Sarova Stanley. And I was one of the, what you call the MC of the day. So I was MCing for the day. And when I finished MCing, I was approached by an old Asian man, balding. And he came and said, I heard you introduce yourself as a consultant. This is my first client. That was in 2008. I had not even registered a company. I had not even registered a limited company. I only had a business name. And they approached me. They told me, we have a company somewhere in Babadogo, and we have these particular people who come from out of country. They are foreigners. Most of them were from India and Sri Lanka. And they are having difficulties with employees in terms of understanding the local systems of doing work. Would you mind to come to our company and come and talk to them on how to manage the local people, how to manage? That's how I got my first job. And they told me, go ahead, book a premise for us. So I went and booked Blue Post in Thika. I trained for the whole day and got my paycheck. So when you have that idea that you want to start, just start. And thank you so much, Faith. I know Faith is also one of my mentors, and I know we have been working together because it is a journey of supporting each other. So just start. The second important thing on how to start a business, you may have these particular 30 ideas or 15. Write them on a piece of paper. And then after a while, like after a month, scale them down to 5. Again, go through the 5. Look at one idea out of the 5 that you are willing to do for free, pro bono. You are willing, even if nothing, no money was, because the first 1 year, the first 6 months, sometimes you may not break even. Which is this particular one idea you are willing to do for free? This one idea you are willing to do for free. Start with it, because that is where your business is. Sometimes we say you don't require money to start a business. You don't require capital. This particular client that I met in Sarova Stanley, I did not have money. I did not have money. I was just speaking. I was invited to come in and be the MC. Then he tells me they have a company. He told me, go and book a hotel. This is a check. After 3 days, I went to the office. They told me, this is the check. Go to Blue Post, book for us a hall, pay for the hall, a deposit, and we will come with a group. And they came a group of about 15 of them. All of them were Asians. Trained. So you don't require money to start a business. What you require is social capital. Social capital is who do you know. Thank you so much, Wilfred, another mentor of mine who has come on board. You require people who can be able to stand and say, this particular person, he is a hardware owner. We are going to give him goods worth 500,000 because we know him. He is within this community. Go and sell after a week, come and pay us. You may not require capital to start a business. What you require is social capital. People who know you are a good person, who can stand. Last week, in one of the forums that I get interacting with, in fact, it is a forum of George Washuri mentorship program. There is a lady who posted and she said she has been running a business for the last, and I know her name is Dorothy, I can use her name. She has been running her business for the last 8 months, and she has come to a point where she needs money. And she was asking in the forum, who can be able to connect me where I can get money? I took the initiative. I know a bank manager in one of the branches in town, and I forwarded the message on WhatsApp to that particular bank manager. We had spoken with him the week before, and he told me, I'm going to call. And that lady was called. And from the conversation I'm seeing from her, it's like they're already now negotiating on something. You don't require money to start a business. What you require is social capital. People who can speak to you. They normally say you need somebody who can speak about you, Mudhuri, in a room full of opportunities. Who can speak about you, Faye, in a room full of opportunities. Wilfred, somebody who can speak. That's what you require, social capital. Another important thing for you to start a business is energy capital. Energy capital means you have good health. Pray for good health, because when you are sick, we are not able to work. When you are feeling unwell, we are not able to do anything. So you require energy capital, ability to be able to move, because when you move, even if it is mentally, you are not unwell. Because if you have a mental situation, if you are unwell, then that you cannot be able to run a business. The other thing that you require is relationship capital, network. Somebody said your network is your net worth. I have seen, like now, the last business I did for KDF, I can mention here because it is not a secret. They even posted on their Facebook. They posted on the Facebook account of KDF that I had trained, and they showed my photos and everything. Do you know that that job I got from a lady I had known about 10 years ago? Her sister works in the military, and she's a senior manager there. And she was asking her sister, we want to train our people on customer service. We want to train our people on team building. Who do you have in mind? She just gave my number. I was called. I met several with that particular lady. And then we went in and trained for 3 days for KDF. So you require relationship networks, because from that, but in fact, from the same lady now, once I trained for them, then she calls me, she tells me, I have a friend of mine who they run a school in Nyandarua County. They are looking for somebody to come and speak to parents. They are looking for somebody to come and speak to parents and teachers when they are closing. She was asking now her colleague in the office. This was now they work for the military. And she said, the only gentleman I know is the one who came and trained us. I'll give you his number. And my number was given. The next time I found myself in Nyandarua training, talking to teachers and parents. So relationship capital, your network. The other important thing that you require to start and run a business is leadership capital. Leadership. You need to be an inspirational leader. When you have, like now we are in what you are calling gig economies. You may find someone has engaged you for 3 days or for 2 days or even for 1 day to do a certain piece of work. How do you lead yourself? How do you show leadership? Do you go the extra mile so that tomorrow when they are looking for someone, even you, when, for example, you have something broken in the house, you require someone to come and maybe mend the toilet or a tap that is leaking or a bar or maybe an electrician. The guy who came in last time and did an extra mile, that is a gentleman you start looking for their number. So whatever business you are getting into, You need to be somebody who is inspirational. You are a leader, an inspirational leader. So that's how you start. So lessons on how to sustain a business before we come to mentorship. Once you have started a business, how do you sustain yourself? Because sometimes it can be very demoralizing. Sometimes there is no money. Yeah. Sometimes maybe I have a client I want to go and see probably in Nakuru Faith or Mudhuri. And maybe I find I don't even have money that particular day. I require money. Sometimes I want to go and see a client. You require to move. So what you require for you to sustain a business, one of the most important thing is a mentor. You require mentorship. Mentorship rocks. Somebody who has walked that particular path. And for me, and maybe Faith, I'm sure, and Wilfred knows, we have one mentor that we share in common. One man you run to. Even if he gives you 5 minutes on phone, that is more than, in fact, the information he passes to you within those 5 minutes on phone, or even on a WhatsApp call, or even on Zoom, is information that takes you for another 6 months. He gives you nuggets of wisdom, opening opportunities and telling you, do this, don't do this. Maybe I'm in the middle of maybe negotiate. I remember one time a South African firm approached us and they wanted me to do some work. It was more online. There was an element of a lot of Excel, but I was not understanding what, because initially we were negotiating for some trainings, but then they shifted the ball. They went into things to do with Excel, I think things to do with filing of documents. It's something that I was not understanding. And I consulted one of the mentors and he told me anything that and even the payment terms were not, because we were saying we must go into a corporate body, we negotiate. Then once we negotiate, we do the job. Then after the end of the job, you get paid. There's what you require, especially if you're in the service market, if you deal with services, you deal with services. That's why you see when you are calling somebody to come as a PA, they are bringing their equipment. They will always ask for a deposit. You require what you call a mobilization fee. If somebody is not willing to give you even a fundi, when you go to make your furniture, when you go to make maybe, for example, they will always ask you to give them a deposit. Now, these particular people are not willing to even give me some mobilization fees. So I got some doubt. So can we stretch wherever we are a little bit, Mudhuri? Let's stretch a little bit. Let's stretch. Yeah, Wilfred, even if I can't see you, Faith, the rest of us who are online, stretch a bit, stretch a bit, stretch a bit, stretch a bit, stretch a bit. Then you can hit your hands like this. Yeah, do like this. Good. Yeah. Then do like this. Great. Now that is powerful. Now, the point we are saying is this, that the next thing that you require to do is do research. Do some research before. Look at the way we have said, start with 30 ideas, scale down those particular 30 ideas to 15 ideas. Again, scale those 15 ideas to 5 ideas. Then scale those 5 ideas to about 1 idea. And we have said the idea you carry in a business is the idea that you say, I can be able to do this particular work for free. I don't require to be paid. I can do it for free. That particular thing that you can do pro bono. I was listening to a gentleman, I think the one who is helping, there was this particular girl that died in a high school somewhere in Moranga. There is a lawyer who is helping. I think she was being covered. He was being covered by Lynn Ngoge. And this gentleman was saying initially he started doing that work pro bono. He was doing for free. He was not charging anything. But along the way, some money has come along and he is okay. So that the business idea that makes you money long term is a business idea you are willing to do for free to start with. If you are a teacher like Rachel, you normally go in and coach. You are willing to start even mentorship programs within your church, within the community, without getting paid. And from those particular mentorship programs, you start hearing now parents telling you, I'm going to send my son to you. I remember one time, one of my a close parent, he told me, I'm going to send a son to you. I'm even going to send you guys lunch money, and I'm even going to send you your fuel. I want you to spend about 4 hours, take lunch with them, and speak to them. It is because we were running some other mentorships elsewhere for free, pro bono. From there, then they see you have the passion, you have the interest, and they even hear from their sons and daughters that so and so is a great mentor. And therefore, when they require a need, they are willing even to now pay for your time. The idea you start is the idea you are willing to do for free to begin with. The other thing about starting a business, lessons of starting a business and as an entrepreneur, is listen to your gut instinct. Anytime you feel you are getting into a business and you are not sure, 100% sure of what is happening, then ideally keep off. Yeah, God has given us 5 senses. God has given us 5 senses, and on top of the 5 senses, God has given us the extra 6 sense. The Americans, one of the most famous Americans called Jack Welch, who used to be the CEO and chairman of General Electric for many years, he used to call the gut instinct, no, he used to call it the gut instinct. Yeah, it's like gut is stomach in America. They call the stomach gut. So that, what is that voice telling you? Hako ka voice kanakwambia nini? Kama kanakwambia you are being called here, even if you are transacting land, you want to start real estate, stop it, leave it, don't dare. The third important thing, the fourth important thing about sustaining a business, trust but confirm yourself. If you have been listening to the story of one gentleman called the late Professor Mangoha, he may not have been a business person, but one of the things I'm learning from that story is that he was saying he trusts, but sometimes he doesn't even trust himself. When he gives some work for people to do, he will go and also check. So when you are starting in business as an entrepreneur, love everything, love, penda kila mtu. Trust a small number of people, what you call the inner circle, 2 or 3. Maybe your husband, your spouse, one of the directors you are dealing with, and then do not offend anybody. This world, we say it is a very small world. One time I remember I was a lecturer, and I have shared this story with some of us. I was teaching in a college part-time, and I was also hustling now doing my consultancy. So one day I went out looking for some student had referred me to the organization, and she's told me, I feel you can come and do some training for service. Yeah, they were in a service industry. I had taught her over the weekend. We were speaking about service marketing, and she thought, oh, you have very brilliant ideas. Please come and speak to our HR partner on Monday, and then you can be engaged to come and now teach the same things you are teaching in class to the company people, our sales team. So on Monday, I visited the company. It was around 12 o'clock. And as I was visiting, I went in, I was told it was 7th floor. I was told, go down the corridor. That is the office of the HR partner. So as I was walking to the office of the HR partner, we met in the door, next to the door. But she almost knocked me down. I said hi courteously. Then I walked in, and there were 2 people sharing the same office. So I found another gentleman, and he told me, I told her I'm looking for him. I'm looking for the HR partner. He told me, ndiye huyo mmekutana she's the one you have met at the door. But he told me, sit there, wait for her. After maybe 3-4 minutes, the lady had gone to the ladies. She came back, sat down, and asked me, what can I do for you? I said, I was referred by so-and-so, and she told me you could be having a need for consultancy for training of your staff members. That's the reason why I'm here. Okay, and she told me, where is your profile? Now, of course, that area I had failed. I had not carried. Always you should be armed. Of course, it's always online. But because the way we had spoken with my student over the weekend, I thought I had almost got, and that's why you are told sometimes don't be too overconfident. from my conversation with my student, I thought I had already gotten the business. So that's why I had not carried my profile. But I told her, don't worry, when I go back to the office, I'm going to forward you my profile. She told me, go ahead and do it. So in a very dismissive way. So I walked out, said, thank you. I walked out, said, you are going to receive it. She gave me her card. I put it in the pocket. When I went back to the office, and that is why I was teaching that time, I was a part-time, I just went to my laptop. My profile is always ready. And I forwarded it to her email with a small note saying, thank you so much for our meeting. I look forward to doing business with you. And I left it there. The following day, in this particular college where I was teaching, we were having students who were coming to defend their projects. You know, the way you normally saw, when you are doing a master's project, a diploma degree project, or thesis, you come in and defend. So students were coming to defend. And I happened to be sitting in one of the panel, of course, as a lecturer, and of course, as one of the tutors. And at exactly 11 o'clock, in the panel where I was sitting, and I was actually chairing that day. I was the chair of the panel. Who walks in? The lady I met yesterday in that particular company. I wouldn't mention name. It is one of the largest distributors. I think it is number 3 distributor of Safaricom. They are called agents, number 3 agent nationally. So she was working there as a HR. She still works there. She's my friend until today. So she walks in. I'm in the panel. I'm seated here with 3 other people because the panel is normally 3. And she is seated there. Then she puts her document down and she looks up. Who does she see? The gentleman they met yesterday, who she dismissed. To cut the long story short, you can imagine how she couldn't be able to speak. I guided her. I helped her a lot. In fact, later on, my colleagues told me, today you have behaved differently. We know you are very strict, but today we found you are not very, why were you not strict with that student? And I decided to declare my interest. I said yesterday, I went hustling because it was not anything that I was doing behind the scenes. Remember, I'm just a part-time lecturer here, so I can have my own time to do my own stuff. I said I went looking for business. I found this lady in an office, and somehow she mistreated or dismissed me. I remember one of the people who had come in, the manager, who had come in just for quality. He doesn't often come. He said, it serves them right. That afternoon, I received an email from the lady. She told me, I have seen how the shoe pinches when it is on the other foot. Please come for your LPO tomorrow. I decided not to revenge. I decided not to mistreat. So what am I saying? I'm saying that always it is important to always trust but confirm. Trust but confirm. The other important lesson for somebody who is getting into business, who is an entrepreneur, always have a positive mental attitude. Just excuse me a bit. Always have a mental positive attitude, because a PMA, mental positive attitude, helps you to, even when things are very low, because sometimes in this business world, things can really be low. You can feel you are low. You feel you don't have the encouragement. You require somebody to encourage you. Retain a positive mental attitude. Those are lessons that can sustain you in a business. Now, I want us to look at strategies to learn a successful. Once the business is going on, what are some of the strategies? I know Rachel is already starting a business. I know Karaoke and Faith, you have been working together. I can see on Facebook, we are also live on Facebook. We have about 15 people live on Facebook. What are those characteristics or things that can make you to run a serious business? Number one, servant leadership. When you go to serve people, whether you have opened a kiosk, whether you have opened a cyber cafe, whether you have opened, always have have a positive mental attitude. The second important thing is a clear vision. Where do you want to go? Always have a clear vision. The third important thing is delegate. Always ensure you delegate, because you cannot, especially when you start growing. You know, even if you are delegated to your son to begin with, your daughter, but delegate some work. And of course, pay your taxes. Pay your taxes. Never go from the get-go. If it's if it's county government, pay the licenses that are supposed to be paid. If it is, for example, customers, always ensure that you love your customers, because I have told you the power of relationship capital. Customers are the ones who speak about you to other people. So there is always power in ensuring you love and treat your customers well. I want to mention in a minute or two about mentoring. Then I'll allow one person to ask a question. Then we can see how. Remember, we'll still be here tomorrow. Tomorrow 7. We started at 7. We'll be here tomorrow 7 at between 7 and 8. We like taking advantage of this particular morning rush so that people can go and do some other things. So what mentoring? What is mentorship? Mentorship is when you seek, or it is the influence or guidance or direction given by a mentor. And I know some of us here, majority of us, there are people we are holding hands. It could be our sons, it could be our daughters, it could be a neighbor, but there are people. So a mentor is someone who teaches or gives help, advice to a less experienced person or a younger person. Incidentally, you can also be mentored. You can also be mentored by a young person or somebody who is less experienced than yourself. Something we call reverse mentoring. Something we call reverse mentoring. So somebody who is a little bit older can mentor a younger person. A younger person, even in terms of entrepreneurship, can also mentor. If you look at a program called the Shark Tank, you look at those guys who are there, who are the sharks. And one of them is the guy, the owner of Fubo. When they invest in those businesses, they invest in, those young people actually mentor them because they show them a different way of doing things. So now, I want to give first of all a chance before we go a lot into mentorship, because I also want to revisit this tomorrow. What is what can we hear one or two reactions? Maybe Faith, you can tell us something, or Rachel. Faith or Rachel?
Okay, good morning.
Morning, hi Faith.
Hi.
Yes.
Personally, I don't have any question, or rather,
Right.
I think you've actually answered mine.
Yes.
Because my main question was about capital, because that is the most challenging aspect of starting a business.
Right.
And I've really gotten to understand that it's not really about the money, but about the friends and the relationships that you have with people.
Yes.
Yeah.
In fact, that's what we are calling social capital. People who can stand and speak on your
Yes.
behalf. If you listen to most of the people, especially the ones who have scaled to very high levels, and for example, one of our mentors, George, he was able to scale to that level because when he went to one of the banks, they were willing to listen to him, and they were confident he could be able to deliver what he was saying. So sometimes it is not the money. Sometimes it is people who are willing to vouch for you. Yes, we can hear something from Rachel. Rachel, would you like to make a... Yes, go ahead, Rachel. We can't hear you, Rachel. Yes, now we can hear you. Although you are breaking up. You are breaking up, Rachel.
I think I have some
Actually, you are breaking up. Okay, I think as we are waiting for Rachel to rectify her. No, we can't, Rachel. Okay, maybe you can, as we wait for Rachel to be able to handle her side. Modhuri, you have a comment, question? Modhuri, comment, question? Okay, we can also probably have something from Wilfred Karaoke. A comment from Wilfred. Yeah, Rachel is telling, Wilfred is also telling us his speaker has an issue. Anyway, as you were saying, mentorship, it's important because a mentor is somebody who has walked that particular path that you want to walk, and they can be able to guide you and they can be able to encourage you. So even as we sit down, tomorrow we are going to delve more into mentorship. We are going to look more into mentorship. Tomorrow we are also going to have, there are two speakers that we'll have. One of them is Paul. I can see he's trying to reach me on phone. That's why I don't want to pick it up. So we are going to have him coming to speak to us about entrepreneurs. Paul is a current chief of staff at Nyeri County, but I also know he is also one of the guys who is he's an entrepreneur, and in fact, let me see whether we can be able to get him right away. I'm trying to tell him to log in, but he can be able to speak to us as even from this end. So good. I think we can be able to so we are saying mentorship. Now, there are some top businesses that have been noted for millennials. Reasons why the millennials are coming on board. The reason why millennials wants to start their own businesses is, number one, they want to be their own boss. They want to feel they are in control. And millennials, you are speaking about people who are born in 2000 and above. And I said this particular webinar has people who are even across, not necessarily, because there are people who, of course, are a little bit gone in terms of years, but they are starting their business. So these young people want to be owners of their own businesses. Majority of them are speaking about something you are calling passion. They want to start something that is reflect, and that's what you were saying. Passion is something that you can do without being paid. You can go even for 5 years without being paid. You can work without being paid. Millennials are also taking advantages as opportunities arise. And millennials are also a little bit dissatisfied with the job. And this particular study was done in the US, and I know to a large extent, it is also applicable in our country here, Kenya, that you find these are people you cannot be able to handle and keep tied to a job the way we are used to 8 to 5. They are always wanting to try new things. So they end up starting their own businesses. But of course, they require a lot of guidance. And sometimes you may find these are people who have also been laid off. Yeah, they have been laid off, so they decide to start. There are some entrepreneurship trends that have been noted in the 2022-2023. The first one is what we are calling digital nomadism. Digital nomadism. That is one of the things that have been noted that is driving businesses. You know, because people have gone online. Thank you so much. You are getting very good feedback from Wilfred that a lot of learning is happening. We are happy about that. So yeah, we have found digital nomadism. People who want to work from not the office